But we couldn't accomplish this if we didn't understand the unique characteristics of the system first. If we didn't understand, we didn't start deriving our ideals for these particular components as they were a match to those specific characteristics. So an illustration of the synergy where you have, this increase of fuel volume, and then all of these elements are borrowing energy and they're essentially putting back energy. And one of these overlaps gives you what we call a multiplicative gain, like I've said before, which a multiplicative gain is essentially where your synergy lives. And you can't do that without sharing mechanics and energy. So that's the one big takeaway for this entire lecture, is that we need to understand the key unique characteristics of that energy nucleus. We need to understand the system first, derive all of our sort of creative understanding of the system, and then allow the components to emerge from there. So what ends up happening is that this also becomes a tiered rollout. So instead of now going to the Defense Department or VCs or et cetera, is that you have to keep them. And this is kind of one of the things that we're running into now organizationally, is that there's a difficulty, is that everybody wants to essentially de-risk by tech block. And unfortunately, if we're creating these tech blocks, even when they're holistically derived, if I try to lob one of those an OEM, if I try to find a Northrop or a Lockheed or an Airbus that's looking for a specific component that we derived for a system that is very specifically tuned to the characteristics of the fuel source, it's not necessarily going to give you the multiplicative gains just by slapping it into their system. And the mathematics essentially support it. And that's what that's was essentially what I was outlining with the Briquet analysis. So that's pretty much all I have. I'm going to open up the questions. If anybody wants to take any of this offline, you can contact me on LinkedIn and also directly in my email. I am the type of person that loves to respond to people's inquiries. I love to talk about this. I have now shifted a little bit into educating the industry of how holism really works and how it can benefit pretty much everything. Everything that we're currently creating that we want to build capacity for in society is on the other side of good systems thinking. And I hope I was able to bring together a better understanding of what the difference between holism is in terms of the bottom line of performance and economics and its competitiveness to in a pre-existing paradigm, and what happens when we don't quite get there, when we really sort of think of it as kind of a patchwork parts. So suppose I could open this up to questions. Let me go back to.
Thank you, Jared, for sharing such an excellent presentation. Absolutely. Like Jared mentioned, does anyone have any questions? I did see Sarah mention that she wanted to know how is this different from design for manufacturing? And Sarah, maybe you can elaborate more on your question.